what we wanted to do is kind of start off this presentation with a question. And this is a question that Julian and I ask ourselves quite often. I'm sure some of you guys in this room ask the same thing. That's, what is the future of insurance, right? Where are we going in this business? Well, there's one possibility here. We could be selling insurance over VR within the next 5 years, having to throw on your headset and have Miss Jones sign with a little virtual pen. I highly doubt that's where we're going, and I surely hope that's not where we're going. But I'll tell you where we are going, right? Will the insurance agent be going extinct? Will we go the way of the used car salesman, right? I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen these little car vending machines, maybe driving into Atlanta right off the highway. Well, the thing is, some insurance agents will definitely go extinct, but only the ones that refuse to adapt, right? Only the ones of us that refuse to, figure out where this business is going. So we see three major changes coming to this industry. Number one is insurance Spartanization.
Yes, so yes is an actual Spartans, right? These guys, we've all seen 300. And so I wanted to talk about something that really inspired the direction in which we decided to take our business. And I wanted to tell a story here because obviously, you can see on my arm, I'm a big fan of Greek mythology. The year is 480 BC. And the Persian Empire is viewed as undefeatable, and the kings of other empires would bend the knee without a single drop of blood being spilt on the battlefield in fear of this Persian king. And so King Xerxes was actually viewed as a god by other people. He could not be killed, and he was actually even rumored to be over 7 feet tall. And he sent roughly 2 million soldiers to conquer the divided Greek kingdoms. Well, into the Spartans. The Spartan king Leonidas handpicked 300 of his most trusted warriors. And these were men that were taken from the arms of their mothers at the age of 7. They devoted their entire life to their craft, which is the art of war, and every single day was spent to get better and better. They weren't part-timers. Xerxes' army advances, and these two forces meet at the pass of Thermopylae, which was a narrow 50-foot pass on a mountain. And on one side of the mountain, you could either be crushed against it in this battle or fall to your death. As the two forces clashed, the Spartan superior training, devotion to their craft, and sheer will to win led them to hold off a horde of Persian soldiers who outnumbered them 8,333 men to 1. I did the math on the way here. This singular battle caused unfathomable casualties to the invading Persian army and irreparable damage to their strength as an empire. So which would you rather have? Would you rather have millions of mediocre soldiers or 300 trained warriors dedicated to their craft? This is a perfect example of which makes more sense, right? The Battle of Thermopylae. So this is where we see the business going. Less agents will make more and more money. Currently, we see a lot of the MLM companies that are out there and a lot of recruiting tactics that are out there where they're bringing in as many agents as they can possibly get. There's some agencies where the average agent makes $1,000 in their career as an insurance agent. And then you have the other guys, right? We saw Luis hop up here and start talking about what he's doing in the industry, right? We've seen Matt talk about what he's doing in the industry. Some of the rest of you haven't had a chance to meet yet, are talking about what you've been doing in the industry. And I think we're going to see a lot more virtual sales and telesales, less face-to-face. We saw this a lot. I started in this business door knocking with a mask. I had to sell policies from my car in their driveway sometimes. But I'm going to let Tim talk more about the lead generation side of things.
Right. Another change that we see coming to this business is a lot more agents producing their own leads. I know some of you guys in the audience are already doing this, but in the past, in order to generate leads, step one, you had to spend millions of dollars on IBM printers, right? Then you had to buy a mailing list of thousands of seniors around the country and start shooting out thousands of mailers per day to unsuspecting seniors' mailboxes, right? That's a pretty big barrier to entry. Nowadays, thanks to a lot of the technology that we have, Facebook, Google, YouTube, all you need to generate leads is a laptop just like that and a little bit of knowledge. So that's one of the things that we see changing within the business. Number three is a larger social media presence for the insurance business. This guy right here, handsome guy with the navy blue suit and the red tie, is a perfect example of this right here. We're seeing a lot more people who are insurance influencers. It's guys like Cody Askins, David Duford, for example. And we're kind of seeing a lot more people transition into that space where you can generate organic leads, as in recruits, as well as generate leads for policies in different insurance lines. So let's talk about natural selection. What happens to businesses and agents who fail to adapt? Well, we have a Dinosaur Graveyard right here. This is Blockbuster, the Post Office, and Sears. So let's talk a little bit about Blockbuster versus Netflix, right? You know, for decades on decades, you couldn't go to a single shopping center in the United States without seeing a Blockbuster. Nowadays, the only thing that got busted was their bottom line when the new cats came onto the block. That's Netflix. Nowadays, you will never find a Blockbuster. I think there's one, maybe in Oregon or something like that, but that's about it.
Museum.
Yeah, it's a museum, exactly. All right, and then now we have the post office versus email. You know, for the majority of American history, the post office was a staple of American society. It was actually a cabinet of the White House for a long period of time. Now they're losing billions and billions of dollars every single year. They're actually expected to go bankrupt by September. Sad news, RIP post office.
September what?
Of this year.
2022.
Yep.
Yep, look it up.
Yep. No, they sure are. We'll Google it. But yeah, a large portion of that is because a lot of the post office's revenue came from sending letters, and now you can send an email in instants, and it'll show up to your recipient's e-bill inbox. Well, let's talk about Sears versus Amazon. Again, Sears used to be one of the biggest corporations in the country. I'm sure a lot of our parents and grandparents owned Sears stock and shopped at Sears every single day. Now, you're lucky to find a Sears, and if you do, it's more of a parking lot than a store, and that's because of Amazon. You can pick two, low prices or fast delivery. I would pick both.
Here's what's scary. If you don't know the answer to the following question, your business is at risk of going extinct. So if your current lead source closed up shop today, how would that affect your business, right? And about a year ago, we didn't know to ask ourselves this question. I kind of told you a little bit about that experience a second ago in our introduction, but we were forced to ask ourselves this, right? Because our lead source went dry. We ran out of leads. It's part of the reason that we left where we were at. And now this story might sound familiar to some of you in the audience. Maybe you've had a similar experience, or maybe you've just heard our story on YouTube. But all of a sudden, direct mail rates, they just started dropping for the return rates for whatever reason. They stopped coming in, and our IMO expected us to drive 3 hours to either side of the state to run recycled bribe leads, right? So we were here dead in the middle on the red X where you can see. And so they would ask us to drive all the way out through the mountains, and then the next week we'd be out all the way at the beach. We're in North Carolina, for those of you who don't know where that's at. Well, us being new to the business, we didn't know any better. But nobody ever thinks to look for a new source of water until there's a drought, right? This is, we're thinking about moving to Phoenix, and this is actually a picture of our backyard. So this is us talking about the drought here. But the truth about being an insurance agent, if you don't have anyone to talk to and you can't sell, you won't make sales, right? So how do you combat this? By generating leads, right? But how?
Well, there's two different ways to generate leads, right? We have organic and we have paid. So let's go ahead and start with a comparison between the two. So some examples of organic traffic. That's social media, like what our guy David Duford's doing right here. We have referrals. We have posting to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc. And then for paid traffic, that would be Facebook leads, direct mail leads, SEO leads, basically any type of lead that you're paying for in order to have customers to talk to. So that's organic versus paid. So here are some examples of insurance influencers. Obviously, we have David Duford. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of Cody Askins and the 8% movement. We have Kyle Studer, who I believe was screwed over by a pretty large IMO, decided to start a YouTube channel and his own agency. Boomer Benefits, who I don't know if a lot of you guys have heard of, but they actually have tens of thousands of subscribers on YouTube, and all they do is just talk about Medicare and how you can sign up. So they're getting thousands of organic leads just from posting to YouTube. And then Dan Trinati, who we actually just interviewed on our YouTube channel last week, he talks about tax-free IULs and infinite banking, and he's actually been able to generate 245 leads in the past 40 days. Actually saw, for free. We saw screenshots of text between him and some of his clients where they were literally begging to spend $500 plus per month with him. And we also have Medicare Mama, who is one of the largest TikTok influencers. Yes, we're serious. She has 252,000 followers
almost a
on
million.
TikTok.
Or over
and if you can look at some of those view counts, might be hard to see here, but I'll read them out to you. 20,000 views per video, 46,000 views per video, and these are just regular posts, right? These aren't even her top posts. So she's generating tons of organic leads from TikTok. So here's some examples, again, of paid leads We have direct mail, live transfers, Google leads, and Facebook leads. So what type of leads do you need? Do you need organic or do you need paid? Well, here's the answer. It's both. So what does that actually look like for you? How can you start doing that and utilizing this within your business? Well, let's start with the organic side, right? This is something that anybody can start immediately, but nobody actually does, right? Everyone knows that they should be doing it, but nobody actually takes action. Why? Because it's kind of difficult.
And so here's how you can start becoming an insurance influencer. Like this guy over there, El Jefe, right? Step one, you want to identify your market, right? So first and foremost, you want to identify exactly who you're talking to. Are you talking to agents? Are you trying to recruit? Or are you talking to clients, more like Medicare Mama, maybe Boomer Benefits, right? So you want to find the direction in which you want to take your content and find your niche. For example, if you notice David Duford's content, it is all directed at final expense. Or if you look at Medicare Mama or Boomer Benefit, it's all about Medicare and senior healthcare, over 65 healthcare. They're not talking about healthcare in America. They're not talking about life insurance sales. You see how niche down it is? It's a very small market. Now, the next step that you want to take is you want to identify problems in your market. So you want to ask yourself, what are some questions that you keep seeing pop up, right? For example, one of the reasons that we decided to work with David was he answered the question of, do we have to just recruit everything that fogs up a mirror, right? The answer was no. Do we get to work on our schedule, or is there like a dial day, a Monday meeting, you have to hop on this, and that, right? Or do we get to do it our way? What are some common struggles or concerns you hear from your ideal prospect? We heard Chad get up here earlier and start talking about how they're getting all these phone calls coming in. They're frustrated. They don't know what's happening. They don't know what's coming in, right? So maybe if you're thinking about marketing or talking to a prospect about Medicare, for an example, maybe you want to talk to them about how they could, block unknown callers. That's something that the clients in my market love that I do. I just literally pull out your phone. I'm going to make all the telemarketers go away. And I just click block all unknown callers. I'm their best friend after that. I've had people call me and thank me. Now, you also want to offer solutions. Make your free content better than other people's paid content, right? In a competing market, everybody is talking about different things. People are offering courses. People want to always get paid for the value that they're giving to society. YouTube kind of changed that, right? And so now you can get the information. You can pretty much go to college for free now on YouTube. It's pretty crazy, believe it or not. And so for an example, there are courses out there on how to set up your Facebook profile to set up ads. And we put it out on YouTube for free. Those courses typically go for about $500. And the reason that we did that was because now we're going to have people come our way. Agents are going to want to talk to us, ask us questions, learn more about how this works, and get into the more advanced things, not just how to set up a Facebook profile for an ad account. You also want to have consistency. This is step 3. You want to post on a schedule. So if I say I'm going to post on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then I'm going to have to post on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because if I stop posting, my audience is going to go and find that content elsewhere when they expect it to be there. We've noticed that David posts every single day and has done so for 4 years. 4 years straight, he has posted every single day. It's 365 videos. It is crazy. It's 365 videos a year for 4 years straight. Almost unbelievable. And he's human just like the rest of us. I'm sure he gets sick too, but he still does it. You have to be consistent. You also want to communicate to the same audience, right? So at first, our YouTube channel didn't get a ton of traction, but we keep talking to the agent about what it is that they need help with, which is generating their own leads. And slowly it picks up more. But if I decided one day that first I'm going to talk about generating leads, and then tomorrow I'm going to talk about sales, and then the next day I'm going to talk about car insurance, and then final expense, and I keep it moving and moving and moving, I'm never going to find my market, because not only do you have to optimize for the agents to find you, but the algorithm has to optimize on social media to find your audience, right? So it's a two-pronged attack. And if you're not able to reach them on one front or the other, it'll never go anywhere, and it'll just stay dead. You'll never actually get in touch with anyone. You also want to use short-form videos and long-form videos, right? So we've talked about TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, but we all know David because he puts out long-form videos, educational content, right? And so you want to put out short-form videos to grab attention, but you want to put out long-form videos to keep attention, because the more face time you get with your prospects, whether that is, again, client-facing, prospect-facing, where you're talking to them about insurance products, or agent-facing, where you're talking to them about how the business works and how they can optimize their leads, they can optimize their commissions, or whatever it is, right? But you always want to do a combination of both, not just one or the other. Now, you want to create here's how you can pump out content like this on a daily basis, right? This is how people like David are able to put out videos every single day. This is how people like Tim and I are able to put out videos, 4 and 5 videos at a time, just on several different platforms from one video. You cut snippets out of each and every individual thing, and we're actually filming right there right now. We're going to cut some snippets out for the agents that are watching our YouTube channel. And what we're going to do is for the little portions of things that people need to find value, for example, this might even be one of them, talking about how you can cut snippets out of long form videos to make short form videos and then, again, get more attention, right? Because that's the name of the game with this thing. If you want to generate free leads, organic leads, whether it is agents, clients, whatever, you have to grab attention and keep it. So number 4, omnichannel presence. This will get you in front of different viewers and increase your exposure. Now, there are going to be people, for example, I follow David on LinkedIn, Instagram, I got him on YouTube, I think that's it. But that'll get you more face time with prospects that follow you on multiple channels, but it'll also get you in front of more eyes that because maybe I don't really use Facebook, to be honest. I'm a little bit younger. My generation doesn't really use Facebook. It's kind of like it's kind of just there. It's almost like a LinkedIn profile for some of us, right? But I was able to get in front of him on YouTube, and now I have him on the other ones as well. And so he pops up everywhere every time I'm looking for something. And so you also want to collaborate with creators to grow your audience and grow your network. And so if you'll look here, well, ruh-roh. Here we go. So yeah, if you look here, we started out, like I said, our channel wasn't really getting any traction in the beginning. Still optimizing. A view here, a view there. I'm not going to lie, they were me. It was off of my personal account. Don't tell anyone. But if you look here, you can see that my personal account and Tim's personal account were the only views to begin with. And then it started to pick up a little bit. People kept looking around. How do I generate leads on Facebook? Well, then we went on and did an interview with David Duford. We call this the Duford effect, right? We got in front of David's audience, and we started talking to them about how you can generate 77-cent Facebook leads. And so once we went on there, you can see our subscriber count shot up, right? And I always talk about with organic content how it's like a J-curve. Starts out with nothing. You can look at David's channel. You go all the way back to the beginning. It started out very small. Now he gets thousands of views on videos. But it was a consistency thing, right? And so you'll see here, and this is only from June 14th of 2022 until like the last week or so, right? And now we have over 200 and some subscribers, and that continues to grow every day, and we haven't run a single paid ad for this channel yet. Step 5, scaling. This is when you have the ability to create content primarily and hire other agents to work the leads that you generate, right? So this is a position that, again, David, Cody Askins, Medicare Mama, Boomer Benefits, they are able to outsource the sales, generate overrides, because they are bringing the consumer to them, right? They are able to scale under them and bring more agents in and put them in their hierarchy to then build under their managers because they have taken the time to reach out to the consumer or the agent, right? Another thing that you can do when you're scaling is use video editors. You can find these online, and I'm going to include a link right here to show you some of you how you can get it for a very low price. You can use video editors and social media managers to make sure that you can get all of this work done without having to take time out of the field or having to take time away from your agency. So onlinejobs.ph is a website that you can go to work with people from the Philippines, where the value of the dollar translating to their currency is so different and so significant in difference that you can pay them $2 an hour and they are still very well paid for where they live. So this is a website, like I said, you can find social media managers, administrative assistants. I have a buddy who lives out in Arizona. He actually found a caller on here, a dialer, somebody who just calls and sets appointments for him. So this is an excellent resource. This is actually what we use most of the time when we're scaling. And I'm going to pass it off to Tim here for you.
All right. Now let's talk about paid traffic. So when we talk about organic, that's kind of like the slow money. I would relate it back to Medicare. Paid traffic is like your life insurance. These are the quick checks. This is how you get your leads in fast. And this is why we picked Facebook instead of direct mail. We're going to break it down for you. We're going to do the math real quick. All right. So as insurance guys, or as insurance agents, we're all numbers guys and gals. And so let's do the math right here. So if we start with direct mail, as we've seen, the cost of those leads have gone up considerably over the past few years. So let's assume, the average agent is paying about $40 a lead for direct mail, okay? So let's say even with direct mail, because they're, higher intent leads, you're closing 1 in 5. That's a 20% conversion rate. So we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt on the direct mail leads. A pack of 20 leads will cost you about $800. Okay? So the average annual premium from a direct mail lead is about $61 a month for a final expense policy. We actually have an agent who tracked all of his numbers. It was over 200 policies. The average premium for a direct mail lead was $61 a month. So that's what we're going to assume, okay? And let's assume you're at a 100-point comp just for easy math. And again, we're assuming a 20% closing rate on that. So that's $800 that you spent on leads. You generated about $2,928 in revenue. It's pretty good, right? You're still profitable there. So you got about a 3.66 return on your money, on your lead budget. That's pretty good. I mean, you could run a business off of that. But let's look at Facebook leads. So we'll assume, again, we'll give direct mail the benefit of the doubt here. They're going to be higher intent leads, quote unquote. And we'll say with Facebook leads, you only close 8%, right? So you buy 100 leads, you're closing 8. And we'll assume each lead costs you about $5 if you're generating them yourself, okay? So with the same $800 lead budget, you're going to get 160 leads, right? This is 8 times the amount you would have gotten with direct mail. You're just getting a higher volume because they're so much cheaper to produce than those direct mail leads. So 8% closing rate leads you to write 12.8 policies. Obviously, you can't write 0.8 of a policy. So to be conservative, we're going to round down to 12. I've never written 0.8 of a policy. If anybody in this audience has, please contact me after this presentation. We're going to have to talk about that. So Facebook leads, typically they're going to have a higher premium. Again, we had an agent who calculated all of this. Actually, it was 25% higher than the premium on his direct mail leads. So a considerable jump there.
At $80 a month per policy
Correct.
via Facebook.
Exactly. So on that same $800 lead budget, instead of about $3,000 in AP, you're going to generate about $11,520 in annual premium. That's 14.4x return on the exact same lead budget. So for every $1 you spent on leads, you got $14.4 back in annual premium. And that is why we decided to go with Facebook leads over direct mail. So how can you start running paid traffic? Well, step one, the same way with organic, we need to identify our market. We can't talk to everybody. We need to pick who we're talking to. So, just like organic traffic, like we were saying, and it's extremely important to understand your niche. If you don't know who you're talking to and you don't know their problems, you can't market to them. Everyone in here is a salesperson, right? Marketing is the same thing, just instead of one-to-one, it's one-to-many. All right, so the next thing you're going to do is identify problems within your market. Again, if you don't understand them, you can't talk to them, right? And don't hop from niche to niche. The same way with organic traffic, where you don't want to, create a page where you're talking about life insurance and the next week you're talking about car insurance. You're not going to want to do that with paid traffic either. Your skills and your ability to talk to your market is going to build on top of itself over time of you doing it. All right, and then again, marketing is just selling on scale. It's the same thing, but instead of talking to one person, you're talking to many. All right, and then be consistent with this. Consistently test, consistently try new things. Just because the first ad you throw up on Facebook doesn't get you, 77-cent leads or whatever, doesn't mean that you should quit, right? Keep trying. Don't chase the shiny object, because jumping from niche to niche will get you niche slapped.
It's the exact same way that whenever you're getting no's out there in the marketplace, you might get 9 no's, 1 yes. It's the exact same thing with marketing. You
Correct.
have to test and try new things every single time.
All right, and then step 4 is to scale it up. Now you have consistent lead flow coming in. Only thing that you really need to do is continue to cycle different ads. There's something called creative fatigue. So the same way, if you go and knock on the same person's door 8 times and they tell you no the first time, if you come with the same approach this next 7 times, you're going to get the same answer, right? So what you need to do, it's the same way on Facebook. So these prospects, these people that are all, scrolling through their feed, they see your ad over and over and over again. After a certain point, they've said no so many times, they need to see it in a different way. So you're testing different images, different ad copies, different angles. And then you're also, the more that you're spending, the more leads you're getting, the more you have to do that. And ultimately, once you get to a certain point where you have an abundance of leads, you're having your agents run them, you're running them yourself, you start to outsource ads management. So you can hire, like we were talking about, onlinejobs.ph, you can hire somebody to run your Facebook ads, or you can hire an agency to do that for you.
So here's how you can generate final expense leads that actually convert. The best way to generate leads is online through Facebook. And the most important part of an effective Facebook campaign is your ad. So what makes an effective Facebook ad? The key is to create a message that catches your audience's attention and evokes emotion without using a bribe, right? And without misleading them into thinking that they're requesting information on something that's free. That is my pet peeve. When I call someone and they say, is this about the free life insurance? Life insurance has never been free. But it's all psychology. So here's the exact process that we use to create an ad on Facebook. Step 1. The simplest way to get into the head of your ideal customers is to create what's called a wish list. So the wish list is what they want and what they don't want. So you want to create 2 lists and set them side by side. And this is an exercise that, whenever you're doing this, you want to actually time yourself. When I get to step 3, you're going to see what I mean. But you want to label one list I want and the other list I don't want. When you set this timer for 5 minutes, it's going to force you to be as creative as possible because you're set on a time crunch. You want to write down as many things as you can in the I want list. And you also want to repeat steps 3 and 4, but for the I don't want list. So here's some examples of what that might look like. So for an example, we know that if we're selling final expense to a prospect, here are some of their wants, just from talking to them in the past, right? They want to have peace of mind. Oftentimes we'll see people in the field that will say, I'm religious. I refuse to be cremated. Burning is for being in hell. I've heard that so many times. Granted, I was working in the backwoods of North Carolina. You might not see that as much here in the big city of Atlanta. But when I would talk to them, they would say, I believe in God. If I get burned, I'm afraid I'll be in hell. Believe it or not, that is something that they want. So I know automatically coming in and talking to people or marketing to these people that one of their wants is to be buried. Therefore, I might use a picture of a casket or something like that, right? I might talk more about being buried, right? Less so about cremation, for an example. They want to prevent their family from going into debt, so maybe I'm talking to them maybe in the audience about how they can protect their grandson. They can protect their son, their daughter, their husband, their wife, right? And in the I don't want list, they don't want to have to worry about life insurance over and over, pulling out their policy to talk to a new agent, right? So, hey, fill out this form to get this done right the first time, right? Another thing that a lot of people get worried about when they're on Social Security on a fixed income is I don't want to go broke and end up in the poorhouse paying for life insurance. Because at the end of the day, even though it's genius marketing from the insurance companies to call it life insurance, it's actually death insurance. They really don't get to use it too much. But it is something that they care to have because they want to protect their beneficiary. But they don't want to do it at their own expense. So then we started the creation of our ad. So here's 3 parts to your ad. You want to have ad copy, your creative, which is just the photo, and then your headline, right? So your ad copy is going to get their attention, as you can see. The creative is going to be colorful and eye-catching because I want them to stop and look at it. And then your headline is going to be talking about what it is that they're either qualifying for or looking at.
All right, so we're going to start with the ad copy. We're going to kind of run through this pretty quickly because David just held up the sign for 10 minutes. So here's our formula for creating effective ad copy. And it's actually an acronym. It's HERBA, not like Herbalife, the MLM. Hopefully none of you guys are stuck in one of those. But basically it's broken up into 5 parts. We have our hook, and then we explain, relate, give bullets, and then call them to action. So the hook is basically what catches their attention, right? This is what they're going to see when they're scrolling through their feed. It's just, basic text right there. Then when you're explaining it, you're giving more information on the hook and stringing them along to where they'll want to read more of your ad copy. Then when you're relating it back to the reader, you're basically just showing how what you're talking about relates to the person reading it. You give bullets, which is justifying the emotion with logic, right? When you're selling, when somebody's buying something from you, they buy on emotion and then they justify it with logic. This is what the bullets is for. And then the action is where you're calling them to take an action. So click learn more to see if you qualify for the final expense program. So here are some examples of hooks. I'll just read one of them. Warning, if you don't read this, you could pay 300% more for life insurance. And that's basically some examples of the hook. We'll include this slide. I think David's going to have this video, and we'll post it on our channel so you guys can look over this. Next, we'll look at the explaining part. I'll just read one of these examples. Again, this is where you're explaining more so, giving context clues as to what you're talking about. So thousands of seniors have recently been taking advantage of a new program designed to help pay for burials up to $25,000. Now we're going to relate it back to them, right? How does this relate to them? Let's get them thinking about themselves in this situation. There we go. All right, so here's an example here. In as little as 5 minutes, you can qualify and take care of your insurance needs once and for all. And now we're going to justify all of this emotion that we're building within them with logic. So we usually will use emojis. We found that check marks work really well for the ad copy. So here's an example. Have 100% of your funeral covered, get coverage that never goes up in price, and protect your family for as little as $1 per day. So in this ad copy, we're already telling them that this is not free, right? This is something you have to pay for. This is not a free government program. And so then we're going to call them to action. This is, where we tie it all up, get them to take the action that we want them to. So, click Learn More to see if you qualify in as little as 5 minutes. All right, and then here we tie it all together. This is an example. As you can see, we have it broken down into the separate parts. The hook, explaining it, relating it, giving bullets, and then calling them to action. All right, now let's make our headline, right? This is that part of the ad that's right under the image. So some formulas for creating good headlines. Get thing they want. Again, we can pull right back from that wish list. Get thing they want without thing they don't want. Or get thing they want and thing they want. Or complete action to get thing they want. And then we also have stop doing thing they don't want. And here are some examples of headlines. Super simple. Take this quiz to see if you qualify. Stop overpaying on life insurance, protect your family in 5 minutes, or get life insurance for cheap. All right, and now our ad creative. This is the actual image that they're going to see on Facebook, right? A lot of these people, when they're scrolling through, they don't read. They're just looking at pictures. So if your ad image or your video doesn't catch their attention, you're screwed from the get-go. So when creating your creative, this is, again, the single most important part of your Facebook ad and will be the biggest driver of your success. So some tips to use in your ads: bright colors that pop on their Facebook feed, human faces, videos, native content, which I'll tell you a little bit what that means. That's basically like things that their friends and family would post. So instead of it looking like an ad, it looks like something that, someone that they would be friends on Facebook would just naturally throw up there. And then also adding text to your image is always a good move, but you don't want to cover your picture entirely. And some good places to find photos to use in your ads. If you guys want to take a picture right here, these are all free like stock photo sites. All of these, there's no like copyright or anything on there, so you can pull any pictures that you want from there. All right, and then so what we typically do when we're creating these ads is we'll make a folder on our computer, just call it Photos for FE Ads. We'll find at least 5 photos, and then we'll use Canva.com, which is like a photo editing software. We'll make a couple designs and then start testing those. And Fiverr.com is also a great option if you don't have any design skill. Maybe you got an F in art class. You can go to Fiverr.com, look up Facebook ad creation, and there's tons of people that can help you out with that for a very low price. And here's an example of one of our best performing ad creatives for final expense. This gets an average of, I think, about $2 per lead.
Did you want to get a picture of that?
Yes.
Go ahead and get it. No worries. This is for you guys.
Julian, we have 5 minutes left, just so you know.
So then now that we've gone over generating leads, why are we standing before you in this very moment? We have a vision. And now I've never shared this with anybody here in this room before, including Matt and David. Neither has Tim. But we have a vision for what the industry could be. Instead of massive shady IMOs built on the sweat equity of people like us in this room, agents, who are looking for more out of life, to get a better income, to achieve the life that they want, where the only qualifications to get hired are their ability to fog up a mirror and get an insurance license. And an average agent sells, like I spoke about before, $1,000 in their insurance career. And then they end up going back to DoorDash, solar sales, waiting tables, bartending, prompting them to hop on Indeed.com and leave a scathing review about how insurance is a pyramid scheme, there's no money in it. This industry is so much more than that. We see people like David that we look up to. We see people like Matt, Cody Askins, people out there that are actually doing what we got into the industry to do, which is make more money and achieve freedom. But we've all heard the saying, Insurance has created more millionaires than any other business. So obviously there's no shortage of opportunity in this industry. But what we realized is, for us to have the impact we want to have on this industry, we have to build an IMO. This is called an insurance marketing organization, for those of you that are newer. Then we looked around. What we realized is that it will take a lot more than just one IMO to fix this industry, because obviously everybody has a different vision. So we have to build IMOs, plural, which is exactly why we got into lead generation. The same way that cars don't move forward without gas or electricity, agencies and IMOs don't move forward without leads. And it takes leads and leaders to build an IMO. We have the leads, we have 2 leaders, and now we're looking for agencies and agents who want to grow what we call Spartanized agencies, where the average agent within their business makes multi-6 or 7 figures per year, which leads to minimal turnover and better talent within your agency. But the only way to do that is to have an abundance of leads coming into your business and the proper infrastructure in place. So how can we work together now to launch your business to the next level? Well, there's a few different ways you can work with us.
All right. Number one, which we, everyone in this room should do right now, is join our free Facebook group. This is called Insurance Agent Freedom. This is a group where we post free content on how you can scale your business starting today. And then number 2, and you can also network with other agents who are looking to grow their business and achieve freedom. Number 2 is we have a YouTube channel where we post tons of free content on how you can generate your own leads, scale your business, and all of the above. Again, we posted a video which is very comparable to a course that other people are charging $500 for. And number 3, we actually have a course that teaches you how to generate your own leads. So we call it The Secret to 77-Cent Facebook Leads. These teaches you the exact step-by-step system that we use to generate our own leads for prices as low as 77 cents. We have one of our students, his name is Trevor Trebian. He's generating an 18x return on his lead cost within his first week running the system. So this is his lead cost right here. He spent $270 on leads, and here is the message that he sent to us. He wrote $4,867 in AP just off of those leads that he generated.
Is this just for life, or is this for other lines of insurance too?
So all of the principles, you can basically just plug in any insurance product and then do the same thing. We built it specifically for FE, but all insurance lines will work with the same system.
In fact, our student Trevor that's right here is actually using this system to generate mortgage protection leads now as well. So this was his first week coming in. You see he wrote, obviously he still was working direct mail at the time, but when he wrote all that on the final expense, he decided to try it out. He's really into testing new concepts and checking everything out for himself. So he's actually trying the mortgage protection as well, and he's seeing a lot of success with that.
Awesome. And yeah, so again, $4,867 in AP off $270 in lead cost. And then the last one, we can be your lead vendor. So we actually do offer leads. We offer final expense leads, and then we're eventually going to offer non-med term leads within the next few weeks here.
So how do you sign up for the course?
We're going to pass out business cards, which will have a QR code. There's links to all of the 4 options that we talked about, and you guys can go check that out if you decide to move forward.
Yeah, and so you can join our Facebook group there. You can subscribe to the YouTube and everything, but basically our vision is to give every agent who's willing to work for it exactly what we got into the business for. For me and Tim, that's freedom. And for us, freedom means getting to spend more time with family, having the ability to go out and explore another country for a few months if we'd like. I'm half Colombian and I've never actually left the U.S. We want to be able to offer our future wives and kids the highest education, safe environments, and unforgettable experiences. I'm sure some of you feel the exact same way about your families, and that's why you got into the business. But this is how we define freedom. So I just want to ask you one question. What is freedom to you? And that's everything. Thank you very much.